some changes as the Yasuo to be banned away and blue side selected by KT.
First ban on blue side, like you mentioned, by KT Rolster, who chose blue side for this game, is going to be that Yasuo. No availability for score on his trademark Kindred. What about the Gragas? That almost was enough for Griffin to pick up a victory. I thought Lehens was immaculate on it from the support role. Would have been my MVP if they were able to pick up the victory there. So far, we're seeing some meta stuff finally taken away. Finally, a first pick ban with the Tom Kench. He's going to be benched. Rai's going to be banned as well. Urgot is conspicuously available so far. Surely that ends in the next 2 picks.
Well, KT get rid of the Aatrox, which means it seems like they're angling for that Urgot first pick. Probably still pretty happy to have that Sivir availability into the Kai'Sa. Feels like Deft is happy to scale alongside that pick on the bottom side of the map. But with an Urgot, that could really shake things up. Still, remember guys, 100% win rate so far in this series, and it's going to be left available. Now KT, they can lock away the giant enemy Crab God if they want to, and they waste no time.
Is this going to be an Ornn, Kai'Sa, Galio kind of comp? Because Ornn did lose lane pretty well against the Urgot in game number 2. By that I mean he farmed, he didn't lose turret health, he was always fine, and he still got his ultimate. We'll see if Griffin wants to return to that, or Sword wants to go more aggressive. They definitely want to return to the Gragas and keep it out of Score's hot little hands. Will be the first pick on red side.
And now do Griffin pick up the 100% win rate Trundle alongside it. Yes, it gives away where the Gragas is going, but denies what Score liked to pick in to the last game. But Tarzan says no. He wants the Talia this time. Not so much of a flex pick for Griffin, but Tarzan knows his way around the jungle so beautifully that even an Olaf can't stop it.
Isn't it amazing that if Griffin lose, 12-0 Trundle will stay undefeated, and yet they were not able to win the biggest prize. Mata is a one-trick. He only plays Alistar, so he's going to be jumping on that one again.
Oh.
Or is he? Because
or
the
are we
Xayah
playing Xayah Rakan before the Rakan nerfs as well?
He's getting huge cheers from the crowd. The Lovers bot lane comes in. Mata is an immaculate Rakan player. He's a match winner. Maybe this is his time to shine.
Absolutely, and now paired alongside the unstoppable Urgot. As far as the first round on blue side, this is pretty dream-worthy for KT. But now what does Griffin do to round this one out? Ezreal being considered. A lot of safety on that bottom side, and Viper has been a phenomenal Ezreal player. You have to look back to Challenger for most of his Ezreal play, but even in the later half of the regular season was still strong.
Yeah, how do we feel about Ezreal, Gragas, but Hodgepodge? Both of them have some mobility. They can run away pretty well. Xayah Rakan has quite a lot of power, and it also shows KT taking a nod to what's been working over in China, because we see Uzi just pop off on Xayah. It doesn't matter if there's a Rakan there. Left, right, and center. There's been no Xayah priority in Korea at all in the second half of the season, and Deft has been on so many unique 80 carries over the course of this final.
Has it been a unique 80 carry every single time, Papa? Because it was the Jinx in game number 1, then Kai'Sa being picked up in game number 2, and then he ran it back with 2 Kai'Sas, and then the Sivir came in. But very unique as far as what the LCK has looked like so far this season. Another nod to the evolution of the meta.
But getting the 1-2 punch of Xayah Rakan was at the cost of the Olaf. That's not going to be there. Now, the match didn't really work that well, but I thought it was because Griffin played around it with Tarzan's bot lane game really, really effectively. So I think still banning it away because of its finesse in the 1v1 is smart. Speaking of finesse, Yukal played 1 game ever of LeBlanc, hard carried on it. He doesn't get to play it again. I wonder if Griffin are going to consider something like the Orianna or the Galio or another new mid lane pick, because Chovy so far has been on Zoe and Urgot duty exclusively in the final.
And hasn't been able to play the Aurelia either. Zoe is actually going to be banned away here. So far, 0-2 this series with the Zoe.
But new pick required. He's had the Urgot taken away.
Coming in.
The Syndra's been banned away very frequently. Very strong blind pick that Rookie loves, even into a top lane like Yasuo that happens to be banned away. Good enough early that if you're a fantastic Syndra player, anything can happen. It's going to be a last pick mid laner. It's going to be Sword falling back to his ultra comfort. Played this all through Challenger, played a lot of it in the summer season as well. What will the matchup be? Could be the Urgot, could be something else. a lot open into the Gnar, including the Jace.
Well, looks like it will be Smeb's Urgot once again because the Galio has been picked up and Score goes for the Nocturne. Okay, that's throwing the gauntlet. That early game's gonna be real tough.
But what's open for Chovy? Because now you can't take the Galio, and if you take a squishy mage, Nocturne, Galio, and friends join you. Goodbye.
Yeah.
You go down. So he's always had a champion pool that's been a bit limited. Orianna's his normal fallback, but it looks like Prey here. Not a hunter, certainly the hunted. This would also be the hunted, but he's going to try and outplay onto the Vel'Koz. You look at the enemy team and say, a lot of mid-range threats, a lot of fighting in front of you. But what's to stop Chovy not exploding the moment that blood-curdling ultimate is pressed by Nocturne?
Yeah, and remember, he has been so destructive on this pick in the LCK. Only played it a couple of times, but has about an 18 KDA or something like that on the champion, even at a 50% win rate. He is a wrecking ball on this pick.
Really like KT taking away the Galio and then saying, you've historically had a narrow champion pool. Most of your picks like Orianna, if you're laying into this, they're not going to be happy times. If the Vel'Koz flashes, ults, and keeps going, he'll be fine. But how are you going to find space?
It is electric here in the stadium.
And this is the 5th game feel we get. First 5th game in a finals for 2 years. Rox versus KT. 2 HP. Score was on the losing side that day. Both of those people in the 2 HP meme are on KT Rolster, Smeb and Score, the top lane and jungle duo. The thing that you would have noticed, Atlas, just like on that day, both teams shout themselves hoarse, and then there's just a cheer because people love Game 5s, and people need to know which of the great stories to join the OGN story will end on this day.
It is a perfect homage to what OGN has brought the LCK. What a way to close it out. It's Deft and Mata lying in wait here in the brush. Sviper wanting to check it with a Mystic Shot. Striker Ezreal for definitely showing off his more hipster ways.
Zyricon, the W level 1s are going to have definitely the ability to walk up here and push this. We're going to have a pause. First pause of the series so far. It's in game number 5.
Yeah, apart from game number 1, I guess, pausing, going into it with the mouse issue that Mata did have. I believe it is over other side. I believe Griffin are the ones struggling just a little bit.
All the fans can do is cheer. Nervous energy among everyone. No one knows what to expect here. Definitely the fan predictions. You know, the players 85-15. The fans also very one-sidedly to KT.
Yeah,
have proven to be a little bit less one-sided this series for sure. KT went up 2-1. They were down 1-2 in their previous series. It's going to be a game issue. If we get any updates, we'll let you guys know. But for now, hoping it's going to be a quick one. And it actually just seems to be some connectivity issues.
Bit of a latency issue here inside the stadium. We'll see whether we can get things sorted out here for Mata. As you saw him on your screen just there, we're just monitoring it now. Get into this game as soon as possible. What a time to add suspense, Papa Smithy. At the very beginning of a game number 5, it all comes down to this.
Every KT player on screen being cheered, and the Griffin players getting cheers as well. Everyone's just trying to shake off any of the rush, shake off any of the just accumulation of 5 hours and 10 minutes of tension. Viper, some amazing moments at the start of this series. Feels like every game something was sent to the top of Reddit. That's how much highlights we've had. But the drama is what will stick with you. The drama is what will live on even after this day. And we just want to load into that 5th game of sweet Korean League of Legends because, you know, we've got some regional qualifiers, we've got some promotional matches, and then from there, it's going to be a long wait.
Well, we will see a lot of these players at Worlds guaranteed. Still Griffin, of course, with another opportunity. They will be 2nd seed in the Worlds qualifier, 1 under Kingzone if they do fail to win this game. Back onto the Rift now as Tarzan's position is given away by a good ward. The KT have topside.
That was well scouted by KT. Nice adaptation there. The topside gank was so obvious based on the draft to try to punish the Urgot, get that quick flash away, level 1, level 2. Not going to find it in this particular case. And it means no double scuttle for Tarzan either in this matchup.
See all that free damage that Deft was able to get down as well. Lovers duo still so strong on the Rift. Spoke about it mildly in Champion Select, but Rakan still has his armor and base health that he lost in patch 8.16.
I was actually looking for a double scuttle here because Tarzan went for the top side, either blow a flash or take a scuttle. He predicted that the Nocturne would go for the safest possible path, but we know about Score's double scuttles and his ability to lock enemies out of scuttle. That's really hard to do, Nocturne versus Taliyah. But 2 down, looking at some win rates, mentioned already. Comfort for Sword, and this is just in summer. He is a very seasoned Gnar player.
Absolutely. One of his champions that isn't a tank, that he's looked very, very good on. That and the Jace as well, of course, from earlier on in this season and previous games. But yeah, Score is just a masterclass. And the only thing that he had to go on there was the fact that Taliyah turned up and then moved topside. And with that information, just crushed him in the early stages of the jungle.
I think it's one of those things knowing, all right, it's a tough lane for Gnar, so he would love to level 2 gank it, and knowing also that he would love to parlay that into a scuttle. And of course, he knows that Tarzan knows, and we're going to the nose-nose territory that these two junglers in particular deserve. That Score isn't going to be able to walk up and contest normally because he's a Nocturne. So Score was able to juggle all of that, make a smart read. Smeb had the early ward down. They were able to ward off any sort of top lane aggression and get the bonus bonanza of the double scuttle.
You can see UCal actually stepping away from what has been a common build that we've seen in solo queue especially, where you can go for that corrupting potion as well as having the inspiration secondary, but he wants to have a little bit more damage availability with sorcery being picked up here.
Unsealed Spellbook on Chovy. Interesting takeaway. We've seen a lot of different people playing with Unsealed Spellbook. Cho'Gath in one of the earlier games. Seeing it here for Chovy, there's no keystone that fits really well for the Vel'Koz. You can go something like an Arcane Comet, but you don't really feel the oomph. The area, of course, is also not necessarily the best pick there. So if you can take a Spellbook, why not? That's the Urgot way, and now it's the way also for Chovy. Going to be between Cleanse, Heal, and Ghost to try to stay away from fights.
Well, Smeb's actually going to start this fight. Probably doesn't want to. His sword is... Sorry, Tarzan is waiting in the wings. Doesn't bite yet, and Smeb... Oh, is he going to walk into this one? You can see Spidey senses are tingling. As those are pings coming in from Griffin, not from KT. Tarzan is being so patient.
He only has 1 camp up, so while Nocturne is going to push up and try to find Taliyah, won't find her, won't find the camps. Here we go.
Seismic Shove avoided here from Smeb, who gets his way out with the flash. Nice work. Pairing that up with the Defiance as well.
There's no way not to flash in that scenario. Either he was going to die or he's going to flash and get away. Ended up being the latter. Remember that Smeb has Unsealed Spellbook, so when he gets that first charge, he can move to Heal or Ghost or Exhaust or another Summoner and still play up. Another unique thing about a lane-dominant champion that can take the Unsealed Spellbook is you can find other fighting tools to keep playing aggressive.
Well, speaking of playing aggressive, Score, utilizing that information, cleared out a whole bunch of the bottom side jungle of Tarzan. He's going to continue just power farming his way through the jungle, already up to level 5. Evening things out with Tarzan, but Tarzan affecting his side lanes more. And what Score's been able to do, we're very close to Paranoia. Setting in.
1 more camp. In fact, just half a camp will be enough for Score to pick up level 6. Look at how many camps he is ahead of his opponent. He's ahead 3+ camps over Taliyah because of the amount of time that Tarzan spent. Gotta say, you better hope that Sword can actually stick the landing on having the flash advantage, because if you're just getting a flash advantage to find safe farming time, it's not worth putting the Taliyah pretty far behind.
As we look bottom lane, Deft has picked up a Cull. Viper waited a little bit longer, got himself the Fairy Charm, as well as the Sheen start here just to give himself as much lane power as possible. Staying up in this lane, things very even bottom side of the map. Viper looking to hold on to this minion wave. Things calm. On Summoner's Rift for now, and that suits KT just fine. Tarzan would have liked to have some successful ganks by now. Tried on the top side, was able to get the flash. Probably wants to get first blood because now level 6 has been picked up by Score. Paranoia, a big deal. The heroic entrance, a big deal from UCal as well.
Definitely the level 6 spikes on the side of KT very much more meaningful than what Griffin are going to be able to pair. And the fact they got there unscathed is, again, the takeaway point like you mentioned, Atlas. Toby keeps wave clearing. item timings for Griffin to really be able to take a lead in the 5v5s remain to be seen. Chovy has cleanse and of course can move to other choices, but doesn't have a stopwatch, doesn't have the damage threat. Having the damage on the Vel'Koz to actually make the front line accountable on KT is going to take time, and he's going to have to balance it with defensiveness as well.
You can see Score thinks that Tarzan should be up here looking for that return gank. The flash now down onto Smeb, and he's pushed so far up. He is here on the top side. Does have Weaver's Wall available, and Yukal, he senses it as well. No vision available. This is all just gut feeling. But not going to go for it.
The moment that Yukal leaves, that's when it's very easy to fall into place for Griffin how to play defensively. It validates Talia spending even more time around the top side, Krugs or no.
Yeah. The blue buff take expectation was certainly there, so I was giving it a little bit more over to KT, potentially being able to find it, but believe you.
Smeb also has a telltale sign. He's like, okay, I'm going to swap to Ignite, and we all know what that means as well. So sitting on the Ignite for a while now is Smeb. Nocturne not in range currently, and Sword is only going to be able to find even trades in this lane with the flash advantage, no more. Although this is the moment.
Yeah, Sword. Is he going to be able to throw that boomerang in?
The moment he walks up for an auto attack, that's when you go in.
Yep, can Smeb actually find it here? The disdain. Meanwhile, fight on the bottom side of the map. Quickness actually invested as Viper gets taken down very low. The Ignite still ticking, 400, 500 health on the Ezreal. Does still have his flash available and decided to go teleport here. Understanding that he can have that extra flexibility with the safety of the Ezreal.
As we suspected, the Zyra Khan lane with the hodgepodge Ezreal Gragas, the Zyra Khan have had priority, but it's priority the tune of going Cull, getting a BF solo next back, and winning in CS. That's kind of having your cake, eating it too, and then writing a positive review about it afterwards. He's feeling really good. Is deft in the bot lane, 2v2, and you noted the TP versus heal disadvantage that Griffin have, so I like the fact that he's going a bit more greedy. They've got the map control around it. Score's been able to play top side, while bot lane has done what the Lovers bot lane always usually does, which is just basically win with no jungle involved.
It is something that KT have gotten pretty used to as well. They sort of took that one out of the King Zone playbook, left on an island. In more cases than not in recent times, especially this series. Score is going to try and prove me wrong as best he can, but just looking for that first paranoia to try and get himself on the board. No first blood to be taken yet.
If you remember Afrika versus Griffin, the first few games were all about posturing. The almost ganks, the counter ganks are there. It's in the mid lane.
Okay, yeah, ultimate just comes down as Yukal utilizes the taunt's damage reduction to keep himself alive.
Don't believe he was fully researched, so wasn't doing true damage, so the damage reduction was actually relevant from the W. If you're researched, that ult's killing you straight through it. So I believe it was not fully there, not able to go in. But yeah, the last series we had, so many real posturing games with almost no kills, but so much action threatened. We're back to that in this game where Score has been there to our knowledge, but to Sword's assumption. And the assumptions and defensive plays have been the highlight rather than any kills actually hitting the rift.
Yeah, exactly right. That's what happens when two very intelligent junglers are the ones here. Speaking of junglers, Shelly's going to get taken down here. The gank squad set themselves up. Smeb's here, Marta down as well. Deft moving towards bottom lane as per usual. This is going to be Shelly easily secured by KT against what we'd expect the flow of play to be.
Best Nocturne you could ever imagine in this matchup. So far ahead is the Nocturne into the Talia. Again, still 4 camps ahead, getting Rift Heralds. Hedging off ganks, and just in general being a bigger factor in the early game. The early pick Talia is not being wielded to any advantage, and Old Man Score has got a vice grip on the first 12 minutes of the jungle matchup.
This is one of those things, this is sort of old Griffin. The Griffin that we saw and we were like, oh, they don't play strongly enough in the early game. This could be capitalized on. We're seeing shades of that here. Because, of course, this is a game number 5. This is the most pressure that you could possibly get. And we are seeing them fall into old habits.
You thought the Ignite was showing your hand. How about Exhaust Ignite, baby?
There we go. That's the Xin Zhao top evolve. The Dream Summoners.
Garen also an Exhaust Ignite favorite.
Oh yeah, that's like, I've just lost 5 games in a row, I'm not losing this laning phase ever.
And that's always where you lost the 5 games in a row, and then the enemy has Exhaust Ignite, and you're just so mad. Because you're like, what do? I don't want to play passive, but his summoners are much better at killing than mine.
There's actually nothing I can do.
Well, sad times.
Yeah. Smev does use one of them. Just lights the Nara on fire. Will get his teleport back. And now might possibly be able to make a play here down towards the bottom side, which is exactly where Score is. KT playing around Deft and Marta certainly is a thing that they've done many, many times in the past. Might be time to start getting that lead.
They love to get the lead through bot lane and unleash Zyra Khan onto the map. Pick support on the map is always the dream. So let's see if the Rift Herald's going to be used bot side. It's about 50% uptime. As has been the case, both junglers in the right spot. But when will that first aggressive move happen? Usually you'd imagine it'll be Marta.
Yeah. Well, the Hens is spotted out. Tarzan moves in though, as there's the explosive cast, gets Marta out of there, and KT get a free disengage. Deft still playing aggressively and gets away with it.
The jump scares are on both sides. We knew that both junglers were there. KT and Griffin did not.
It's getting to the point where they probably should start expecting it.
It's almost feeling passive-aggressive. There's so much aggression outright everywhere.
Yeah.
It's so close. Both teams are putting up with this charade for now, but one of them's going to lose patience and try to slam down on the opponent.
Much like Shelly would. She runs too far away from home.
Well, Shelly's going to come out eventually. She's, you know, she's still readying herself.
She's in her Pokemon.
The petticoats are on. She's ready to go.
Petticoats are on. The power petticoat. I like it.
And waiting for that Rift Herald summon. Full health, the mid lane turret. No surprise there. If Galio's getting auto attacks on your turret, you got bigger problems.
Well, if they're looking at the stats, they should send Shelly topside. So that's the winningest one. If she was available from Griffin,
well, coverage is good though. Control ward in the triangle brush and other spotting vision, so hard to make that too easily. A full health actually been going down. The Urgot, I don't believe, has done too much chip damage. We haven't on the top side in a while.
River control so strong here on the bottom side for KT though that it allows Deft to do exactly this. Start getting some legitimate damage here on the bottom turret. And Rift Herald is going to get unleashed. Shelly says, finally, the petticoat's out. Let's take down a structure.
Is the Weaver's was going to be used? Well, it's going to crack it, so no need. First turret of the game to a big cheer goes the way of KT. We said, unleash the Lovers bot lane on the map. They've managed to do that.
Well, Score, fantastic spell shield. That had to be perfectly timed to not get blocked by one of the threaded volleys. So well done. Avoids the seismic shove. KT get themselves out, but still no paranoia is invested at all as Chovy on top of a ward.
Let's go back to table setting a bit. We mentioned how this draft had ebbs and flows. We said Griffin in the first 5 levels clearly did not go their way. Very nice jungling from Score, changed that. And then we said when those 1.5 items are done, that's where KT's combo options in team fights really open up. Whether that's going to be a Drake fight, they get the shop in. They were waiting a little bit, KT, because it was BF Sword and Merc Treads you remember from Deft. Yeah. Now it's Stormrazor Zeal. That's a huge jump in power. And now KT want to use their power point to fight.
Well, the back timing was not so good from Viper. He almost made it to that 2-item power spike, but Iceborne Gauntlet as well as the Tear and Pickaxe not quite able to get to that Manamune just yet. Viper has been one of our players that really loves double tier, often gets it no matter what kind of composition he's in. He's one of those players. Griffin, of course, loved the late game, so it shouldn't be too much of a surprise to anyone. Did want to start stacking the next one, didn't quite have enough to complete the first on his first back.
That doubles down on Griffin wanting to evade any action, and maybe even to the Muramana transformation. This is definitely a speed hump for Griffin, and could definitely be exacerbated with a big engage. KT push up. They're pushing up to inner turrets rather than putting Deft and Marta in other quadrants, just to make the Talia more predictable. Because if they push the minions in, they walk in, they know the camp's there, they know the Talia's elsewhere, so it's free Drake time for KT.
Yep, they're going to be able to take it. Nice capitalization from Griffin to steal away the blue buff in the meantime, but feels like petty change in comparison to the objective that KT were able to lock down. And now Deft, free rotation into the mid lane as well to try and put some dents into that very full health turret.
pushing and returning to bot lane is only a good play if the Drake is still surviving. First Drake of the game is 17 minutes in. That sticks the landing on sending Deft bot lane before starting to rotate, and now we see Deft up top.
The whole map available here for KT. Deft looking to put some pressure on the top lane out of turret. Another position where Smeb hasn't been able to pay too much attention, as you can see. Slight chips, but that's about it. Ducal has the wave clear as his Rod of Ages starts stacking up.
Chovy's got some of his core items. Got the Luden's got the stopwatch. He had to buy that one. That was not from his rune set.
And almost has that. Zonya's completed as well. Actually decides to sell those parts. Needs a Haunting, guys. Passive does pair very, very well with the ticking damage of the ultimate.
We already know that Smeb, Yukal, and Score could last a long time, so it makes sense to go Haunting, guys, and get 10% bonus damage over those 5 seconds.
Viper getting some poke onto Deft, finally able to do some bullying, especially with Griffin having the inside track to this top lane. Deft still happily farming though. Zaya certainly feels like a more dangerous champion in the later stages of the game.
KT are ahead with 2 globals, and here we go!
Yeah, and we go, there's the hero's entrance. See you later, mate! That is Lahens, not long for the world. Not a lot that he could do about that one either, as Smeb tries to get himself out here, so tanky, as well as Deft has to throw down the Featherstorm. Disintegration Ray, not enough. And KT have just run them around, but is the Weaver's Wall going to be enough here for Griffin to find their way back into the fight? True Shot Barrage is there, but this could be what KT want. 4 versus 5, remember, Tarzan in trouble, and he's going to get wiped from the map. Griffin just leaving themselves open to these little picks with KT's combos.
Griffin feeling the pressure, thinking that we have to fight now, but the double globals are up, and KT have been so able to hold on, to be so reliable when they need them, and all that patience brought them to collapse. Griffin gets shut down. 2 kills now to KT.
Well, Sword wanting more. He does have that Mega Gnar available. No flash, remember. So with the crush on cooldown, does have to get his way out. He's feeling a little bit dangerous. We know that Griffin can do some pretty magical things with their backs against the wall. Not going to happen this time. The Lovers are going to go back home. That is 2 items picked up for Deft. The Zaya feeling in a fantastic position.
Where you play against drafts like this, a lot of these drafts, the Nocturne, Galio, Gangplank drafts that we're seeing so commonly fell away because teams knew if the ultimates were down, there was a big window. You can outfight Nocturne, Galio if the hero's entrance and the Paranoia is on cooldown. But when you're behind, you can't pressure globals out. And Griffin end up just being taken down by those tools. So because the early game went away from Griffin, you're seeing a lot of desperation about finding picks, and sort of desperation that Galio, Nocturne, Global Comps are so good at punishing.
Well, now you got both supports lying in wait here on this top side of the map. Deft will be able to get this wave towards the turret, and Lahens actually, not discovered, stops his back, but still, he's out of position. Or is he? The flank is now on. There's, the mind games coming in from KT as Mata battle dances his way out expertly. That reaction time was almost inhuman.
Gragas giveth, Gragas taketh away. If that barrel hits, it's a free pick, and who knows what more it might represent. Doesn't go the way of Lahens. Immaculate on the Gragas in game number 4. No punishment to KT. Holding down Zaya and Rakan with that battle dance range is so tricky.
That is so tricky, even after the nerfs did come into that particular range that you talk about. Lahens was so close. I don't blame him for that one, because why would they back away from the turret?
I think to me, I was more focused on the Gragas in execution than you. On that particular one, I think Lahens was set up to make the play. But it doesn't go down. Griffin back away. They still don't find anything, and around the map with their superior lanes, they're finding a gold lead and they're finding an R.
Yeah, Corrosive Charge is going to land. He tries to crush to get out of the way. It's a good Gnar, but there's the flash. Oh my god, the damage, the tankiness, the Urgot. It's disgusting. And Smeb is going to grab his first kill against the Gnar.
Galio just wants to be front row seat for another kill. 3-0. It's a kill scoreline now. Drake spawns in a minute. All of the momentum is going the way of KT Rolster and the people in the crowd. We can confirm it. They seem real excited.
Yep, Feels the same way, and I feel like you're allowed to say excited. It's game 5. We already got there. That use of the Justice Punch is probably some of the best I've ever seen, Ucal.
Ucal's 5-man taunt on his first Galio game was one of the ways he got himself back into form. Now it feels like a long time ago, but he actually had a real drop in form, kind of a sophomore slump in the 2nd, 3rd, 4th week of the LCK before Rifrai was looking very susceptible, getting caught on Lulu and other picks and just not being able to back up his amazing spring play. But the Galio game was the one he looked robust on. He returns to Galio as a denial away from Chovy, and just a strong combo option with the Rakan and the other engage on the side of KT. He's looking practice, he's looking sharp, and KT looking to take a second out of turn.
Yeah, they'll get it on the top side of the map. Def took a couple of turret shots that he didn't really want to take, as I believe Vipe actually had vision of score there. Just slightly, so he's going to stand away from this turret. Does mean that Deft freely shoves this wave all the way in. That's going to crash, that's going to reset. And looks like KT are going to have their cake and eat it too. As the Baron has been started off, Smeb can tank it for about forever.
They know it was started though, the trinket ward was very important there. They saw them pop over, so gonna back away. No harm, no foul, but no extra gains from KT.
But I feel like KT can do this many, many times in a row. Their turn off the Baron is so strong. Their ability to tank it with Smeb being so tanky this point in time. Having the Purge available for the shield. It's really scary stuff. Sword as the Mini-Gnar, not going to be able to steal away the Rift Scuttler, and also not going to be able to stop this second Mountain Drake from going the way of KT Rolster. 2,000 plus gold is the lead for KT. They're staring down the barrel of not second place this time, of a first place in the LCK, in the final LCK that OGN will ever produce.
And it would be a fitting one if Score won his first title today, Atlas, because he is the only player to be there the entire OGN era. Something that represented almost moments for him, almost winning in the rain in that Zed versus Zed SK Telecom T1 versus KT Bullets summer final. Almost winning so many more times since then. Wasn't able to pick up even a single game in this same building the last time KT Rolster were in a final. In spring 2017, that was a 3-0 SKT. There's no SKT today. It is Griffin facing them. Griffin went up 2-1, but in the clutch, Score has had his best game in game number 5.
Yeah, this has been a masterclass yet again. Somehow able to navigate around the Talia. Tarzan, he did it really nicely in game number 3. Score standing up and saying, look, whatever you can do, I can do better. And remember, this is old man Score. Man, almost 10 years older than his mid laner, and even older than that, of the Griffin mid laner.
And that's the difference, right? This is the guy who wasn't in a final before. The only finals debutant ball for KT is Ucal in the mid lane, displaced pawn. That's the person who was supposed to be helming the mid lane for the super team. Wasn't able to keep up with his performance. Definitely seemed like the one player to fall away a little bit over the last year or so. And Ucal came in and from the start was so mature for his 17 years and 7 months of play, saying, I just want to win a title for Score. Always focused on his young, like you say, almost a 10-year difference in age between mid laner and jungle. 9 years, massive. In competitive esports, here's an ult!
Well, here we go again. Here's the combo. And that's another dead Gragas. Can Griffin actually do anything for this? His sword has actually teleported in, they know. So many buttons on cooldown. Score is squishy. Tarzan trying to throw the threaded volleys in. The flash comes down from Sword. Should be able to lock this one down. Oh, the stopwatch at the last second. And now, has he bitten off more than he can chew? The Gnar comes in. The Nocturne is going to die, but the Taunt comes in and the Gnar is dead. That's the kill picked up from Deft. And it's a 2-for-1 in exchange as Smeb. He's still bottom side.
Yeah, Smeb actually is not even going to join this fight. He's going to continue pushing on the bottom side. Griffin just wanted to dissuade any Baron plays. They were looking for any exit kills, and the Smite the best way to head off that particular threat. But Deft goes back bot lane. He keeps pushing. The Baron is not started. Griffin need any kills they can to wrestle back some semblance of map control from KT Rolster.
What I really love is that Griffin decided to take that fight afterwards. They lost Lehens, yes, but KT is all about that first wombo, getting that first pick, and trying to snowball from there. But Griffin will have buttons available after that does go down. Trying to fight them and outperform them in these team fights has been the way Griffin has been able to win every other game in this series.
This is Lehen's new job, by the way. He stands next to Baron and puts in a control ward once in a while.
Yeah.
Really interactive role, support role sometimes. He's just sitting there trying to be the guardian of the Baron, but he can barrel over very frequently also, which is helpful for him. But yeah, not a lot of gameplay there, unfortunately.
Vision is available. Doesn't mean that Marta does have a level advantage on Lehens, who's been wasting a bit of time doing exactly that, like you say.
Support Gragas is a cast only. If you can get a pick with the body slam, maybe, but otherwise, other abilities don't really do anything. He takes drinks just to proc his passive, no more, no less. Yep. When will Hens get to move away? Please, supports, get a chance. he can't move, it's really fun.
Well, he probably should think about it, because once again, that combo is available, and KT can pull the trigger from about anywhere, and they've got so much vision control. Score looking on the bottom side as Meganar is going to come in. Smev tanking up this minion wave. As Deft could be in trouble as Lehens has moved out of that Baron pit area.
Very common piggyback play to just take down the bot lane if you don't respect the enemy going for Baron, and Griffin at this point are in no opportunity to go to Baron. Tarzan can't tank the Baron, so they can't threaten Baron if Nocturne shows bot. But Nocturne's coming for a walk. He's now mid lane.
Well, Deft steps up to the minion wave, but you can see the rest of Griffin not actually willing to try and punish him for that position. Tarzan was clearing out his Raptor camp this time as Lehens in range of the Paranoia, and that is now so scary. 0 and 2 for the Gragas.
Eventually, Chovy had to back all of his mana to repel the mid lane turret from going down. Top and bot have been down for a while. Mid lane out of turret against a Vel'Koz. For a very short range comp like KT, where their longest range auto attacker is Xayah, and they have otherwise mostly melee champions, short range champions, means that mid lane sticks up. That's the hope. Farming it out, getting to 4 items on the carries is really important for Griffin. Viper's build a bit cheaper, so he will get there. Chovy can get 3 items. You pick the wrong fight, and it can definitely be ended by a disintegration ray.
Well, it's Deft at the moment that has got to his items that he needed. Chovy, like you say, did get them, but this isn't the Death Cap. This isn't the Void Staff. These are the 3 items that he needed to pick up to keep himself relevant at those moments. But Deft has got the dream. Very close to getting that QSS as well. You can see Null Magic Mantle was picked up on the previous back, but had to finish the Infinity Edge ASAP.
Interesting to see what the next item is. I'm actually a fan of AP stacking on the Vel'Koz rather than going for magic penetration, because you have to think you're going to be able to hit 3 spells onto Galio and also the Urgot in fights and thus get the 2 damage, but we'll hold the point.
Yep, Paranoia is going to come in. That's the disdain used. The repositioning and just eats him. That's the fear beyond death, and he gets the fear from it as well as Tarzan is in trouble. Heroic Entrance is not going to get the knock up onto Tarzan, but Yukao, he still wants it. Happy to hang out underneath this turret. Looks like it's doing absolutely nothing. As Viper chasing after Deft and Marta, he doesn't have the ult, and he has to get the hell out, and doesn't even use the flash to get over the wall. Had the heal available as well, but put too much stock in keeping those summoner spells available.
They didn't have perfect map control around there. They couldn't see the Gragas. That's why he got on, and there was no flash from Deft. He was waiting for a threat, and the threat was too quick. Griffin are walking up to Baron. Can they start it? Your thought is no. Their only tanky member is Sword on the Gnar.
And Score is still alive. Doesn't have Paranoia, but can still get himself into the pit from any angle. That flash very close to being off cooldown. In fact, as I say it, does come back available. Still 13 seconds available on Deft. He does have the QSS now complete. Oh, Tarzan. This could be a real struggle. Corrosive Charge lands, gets the Defiance. Oh, misses the ultimate though. Cooldown on that is just disgustingly low, especially now with some CDR. Smev is just ready to hunt the members of Griffin.
Ult early, if you just apply enough damage during the channel time, you get the execution anyway. But
yeah.
KT, speaking of executions, they're on to the Baron, and Lehens is back to his playpen.
And Tarzan doesn't have a flash, does have Weaver's Wall available relatively soon, but I think this is the window that KT
is
were looking for. Is it
going to be about a smite?
Smite can't actually get into this pit. It's just not going to happen. Paranoia comes down. It's taken by Yukao of all people with Disintegration Ray over the top. Score, that was too close for comfort, buddy.
He didn't smite. He didn't smite in all of it. Apparently that's the solution.
The massive Galio burst damage, Bubba Smithy.
I'm not saying it was the right choice. I'm saying it was the choice. They get the Baron. You got to be results orientated, just like a lucky cannonball got it for Smeb. In this case, they get it here, and that means the play is successful in the end.
And the storyline is so perfect. Talk about UCal taking score to Valhalla. That is the way to do it. It wasn't a disintegration ray this time around. It was the Winds of War, I believe, that picked it up.
Hey, if walking in a straight line can be the next level, why can't not smiting be the best smite, Atlas?
Oh, I think it absolutely is, Papa. I think this has summarized the entire situation. If KT win, it's off the back of UCal being able to pick that up. Otherwise, Griffin stall out this game, play a Griffin game of League of Legends, and then who knows what happens.
And that's the thing, is that after the early game went so poorly for the Talia, all Griffin can do is say, I think we win late game, and I think it's just like my prediction that went from 54-46 KT to Griffin. It's pretty close in the late game. It really depends on Chovy. He's got no flash this time. He does have Zonius. But if you win a team fight here as KT, you can all but explode the Nexus in one push.
And you have to look back as well to the last series that these two teams played against each other. It was KT in the late game that won with a lethality Varus, of all things, in a game one against Griffin. We're talking hyper late game. We're talking 50+ minutes.
But we're finally talking a 34-minute mid lane outer turret.
Oh,
at the
and
same
the
time
1-3-1 of dreams from
Aren't
KT
Baron buffs
Rolster.
so sweet, Atlas?
Oh, are they ever. This is not what Griffin was able to do with their Barons in previous victories, though, this series. This is KT understanding how the early game victories are supposed to work. I know it's 35 minutes. Early game doesn't make too much sense, but these games have been long. And KT are just showing how to close out one of these games. And Score is trying to prove me wrong. Flashes to get out of the way. Guardian Angel held on to after all is said and done.
Score used his ultimate, I assume, to zone away Griffin members who didn't seem in range of anyone. Chasing on the bot side, but another turret rolls down. There were a lot of standing gold turrets to get this. The Baron buff power play is looking on point.
Yeah, but the one member that hasn't been accounted for here by Griffin is UCal on the top side of the map. He's going to move the minions out of the way. And Viper trying to wave clear. But this Ezreal, 3 items, some utility available, not exactly the Ezreals that we've seen run over the top of teams at all. And in comparison to this Xayah, it's really being left wanting. Chovy going to get the slow onto Mata, but he's got Battle Dance to get himself out. This is the 1-3-1 that we were talking about from KT, but now trying to break open the base mid lane. Going to be the first option as Deft, so much damage with each of these autos. Happy to stand up against both Chovy and Lehens because he has the ultimate, he has QSS, and more importantly, has the flash.
And they had the gold lead to Atlas. You're seeing mana bars be used purely on wave clear against Baron buff minions.
Well, Smeb may have actually opened this one up for Griffin, but that is not the case. Heroic Entrance comes in just to break open the base here as Chovy taken down by Deft. The flash forward, the Featherstorm, the inhibitor going to go down, and Sword thought he was flanking, but he's not. He's getting taken down by Smeb. Trying to play with the base gates, but Lehens once again going to fall. Viper, can he play this team fight out? As there's the paranoia. And the GA is once again going to be popped. KT just playing as a unit. And Sword as the GA go down, but Deft is going to take him out in the end. Inhibitor, the next target is Viper. Full health, but can't find his way in. And KT, they break open the base.
4v2, but I don't think they can end the game if Viper is alive. He's trying to draw as much aggro as possible to buy time.
Oh, he's playing so aggressively as Tarzan gets his health back and comes back into the fight. The threaded volley's good. Mata just about dies, but the Grand Entrance gets himself out. Viper finds his way forward. The flash. Oh, the Deft outplay. And the jungler can't do it. Tarzan falls, and Deft reigns supreme.
The flash works for Deft, does not work for Viper. The KT fans are cheering loud.
Watching the ult. Deft. Oh, it gets it. And Deft is sniped out by Viper.
Don't get excited. That's always the word, KT fans. But unfortunately, Viper, with his last gasp of mana, finds the kill, stops the reset from being as clean from KT, and this series keeps going.
It's not over yet. The next Zeal item is coming in here for Deft after that series of events. It's a Mercurial Scimitar completed. It's a whole Zeal completed. That is so much crit coming in for the Xayah. I think 100% has come in now as the Zeal is done. Score continuing to farm things out. I want a Rift Scuttle counter for this series because he's got so many. Even after Tarzan's phenomenal game on his Talia performance earlier in Game 3.
Huge.
That is a power play.
Power play coming out there, 6,300 gold. Bonus to the side of KT Rolster. That is a huge amount. 10,000 gold lead has now been achieved. Chovy still doesn't have that death cap. It feels like if KT botch and engage, frontline gets research, maybe Chovy can hit and hope. We've seen some incredible things out of Korean Vel'Koz, but I think that's the 2 out of 10 situation, maybe even less than that. Reliably, seems like KT got all the tools, but the hands, he's rolling in.
Yeah, he's going to be able to pick up score there with the barrel, but that's not going to be enough. It is going to secure outer turret.
Number
and
one.
Sword is going to be able to do the same thing topside as well. That's the first turret, yeah, of the game.
38 minutes.
Good God.
Instantly doubled, but that is only possible because it's been a domination from the comp that was supposed to take time, but needed no time. They feel it's their time. Griffin camping a brush.
Yep, the 1-3-1 continuing. There's KT. They're just going to say, all right, I guess we'll just continue pushing forward. They know they've got the inside track now as Tarzan's going to take down that Trinket Ward. Marta gets another one over. KT, this positional advantage that they have right now, can they continue it forward? Can they actually win out the series when it's Griffin? Remember, we were saying that Afrika have made the dream run. Okay. We're looking for it. Smeb's going to get there. That's Chovy just taken out. They found him. The stopwatch was there. This could just be the game. Viper now getting taken down to half health. Smebs, the Urgon, has the disdain, has the ultimate, and the fear beyond death gets rid of both of the carries. And KT are now fighting as if they're on the red side. It's Sword going down so low. Deft has so much goddamn damage, and Smeb will deal with Tarzan with the help of Marta. And Griffin just fall apart. It's KT Rolster until the end. UCal tanking the turrets as KT haven't lost a member. The last Nexus turret and the storyline for score is completed. They're already off their seats.